We live?
Not yet. Yeah.
We live? All right, man. What's going on, everybody? This is Corey Lee Boxing, man, and we got another guest again, man. He's not a guest anymore, dude. This is his house, man. You know what I'm saying? We got Ty Legacy in the building. Tell him what's up, Ty.
Not too much. Doing another chat with Corey Lee. Enjoy talking to him. Enjoy talking the boxing. Give as much insight as I can to the best of my ability.
Yes, sir. So yeah, man. What we want to talk about today so far is we want to talk about we want to definitely get into the whole Anthony Joshua deal and him not talking to the New Zealand press right now, man. He's not talking to him. He's not giving them any of their time. They flew all the way in from New Zealand to talk to Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua's pretty much giving the reporters and everybody a cold shoulder, man. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's kind of disrespectful for the media to come out there and trying to hype the fight up, and he's just pretty much ignoring all media that's New Zealand. You know, disrespectful a little bit, huh?
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it does look like it's disrespectful, but I didn't catch it. Like, do you know the reason why he's not talking to the press? Is it because they're bringing up Wilder? Which I mean, he's got to expect that. But I mean, he does have a fight coming up, so he does have every right to want to address the task at hand and not overlook Parker. Similar to Connor didn't want to talk about anybody else when he was fighting Pacquiao. I don't know the story behind why he's not talking to the press. Because on the outside looking in, I mean, when people fly over and try to do the job, and you're just not letting them do their job, it does seem like, yeah, that's some rude shit.
Oh yeah, man, super rude. Hold on real quick, dude.
Yeah.
Ah, it's going down, bro. It's going down. It's going down. So yeah, man. So far I want to just say that, you know what I mean? He's pretty much he's one of those deals where you gotta kind of watch, the whole way with the Anthony Joshua and stuff because Anthony Joshua is pretty much a prima donna, dude. I mean, he does what he wants, he says what he wants. I mean, at this point in his career, man, he's making so much fucking money, dude. He doesn't give a flying fuck, dude. And I mean, it's just it's kind of disrespectful that Wilder's talked to every media. Wilder's had a lot of media obligations, man. You know what I mean? Pretty much look what Eddie Hearn said about Deontay Wilder. He's like, man, Deontay Wilder's his self-promoter. You come over here, we'll promote you the right way, man. Come over here to Eddie Hearn Promotions, man, and we'll promote you the right way. You wouldn't have to be doing all of that, promote self-promotion because I mean that takes a lot out of a fighter, man. To go through training camp and the week of the fight, doing all of those obligations, man.
Yeah.
And pretty much what Eddie Hearn was saying is that Anthony Joshua wouldn't do half of the shit that Deontay Wilder's doing, that he's obligated to do, promotional wise. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
mean that's just your promotional, backing is supposed to handle that. You know what I mean? And right now it's looking like Deontay Wilder's, promotional banner is not handling all of that. You know what I mean? He's having to do a lot more, and it's kind of fucking up. I think it could possibly hinder him in the Joshua fight. I think he needs to get a little bit more stronger promotional company. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit promotional backing. Since me and you both agree that Al Heyman is not a promoter, and
Hmm.
you know, like I said, man, your thoughts on that, man? I think he's overwhelmed, dude.
Deontay Wilder is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the promoting that we see from Wilder is himself, right? Like especially with this Anthony Joshua situation and things like that. So I mean, it may not hurt to get a little stronger promotional backing behind you, like you said. Um, I don't know his relationship with his promotion team, because Lou DiBella is his promoter, I believe, or is he his manager?
Ludabella is pretty much his. I think Ludabella's kind of co-promoting with him, but I
Okay.
don't think he's like the main promoter. And Luda Bella promotes a couple of Al Heyman fighters. I don't know if that's just because they got a promotional deal with the Barclays
Yep.
set up, and but I think all of that's gonna be null and void, man, when Richard Shaver, touch down. I've already seen the Mikey Garcia and the Richard Schaefer Ring Star promotion.
Yep.
Richard Schaefer promoted Mikey Garcia's last belt, and I'm pretty sure he did get a percentage of it. They had Ring Star on everything. The
Hmm.
promotional banner was pretty much Ring Star. So Richard Schaefer is back with Al Heyman, and he's full throttle, dude. And that speaks volumes because he was out of the picture for a couple years with the whole lawsuit and everything dealing with Al Heyman. He kind of took a back seat, if I should say a back seat, and now he's back, and I think that'll do wonders for Al Heyman and his fighters. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely doesn't hurt. A little bit of extra promotional backing, and definitely not going to hurt you because, like I said, they are getting promotion in the sense that they're on network television again. But I mean, you still got to get the consumers, especially the people that don't watch boxing, wanting to put it on that channel or even know to put it on that channel. So yeah, man, I'm on board with you. Like that doesn't hurt at all.
For sure, man. And like I said, man, I honestly think that, what I mean, I think it's a great time in the heavyweight division, man. Everybody's fighting everybody right now. Deontay Wilder just had the Luis Ortiz fight, and hold on real quick, dude. The
Yeah, no
fucking
problem.
neighbor's out of control. Hold on real quick, dude.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody in the comment section, he will get to you. I can't see your comments right now, but he will get to
Yeah,
you.
man, I thought that was my fucking laptop in the mail, dude. I seen the FedEx truck outside, dude. I thought that was my laptop. I cannot wait to get this MacBook in the mail, dude. I'm chomping at the bits right now for my MacBook, dude.
Yeah,
I
I feel
cannot
like
wait. I already got the upgraded gigabyte RAM chips and shit. I got that on the side, dude. I'm as soon as that shit's due, we're going full throttle mic. We're going full throttle new webcam, full throttle new, process. Everything's gonna be new. It's gonna be upgraded. You know what I mean? And everything's gonna be good for the channel. But yeah, man. So yeah, man, I'm just chomping at the bits. You know how you got a toy coming in the mail, man? It's just kind of like
oh
that,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I heard it was a FedEx truck out there, and I'm like, oh, they pump fake me, dude. They
yeah,
pump fake the hell out of me, dude. It's
yeah,
like they were out there, but it was like I guess they were out there for the neighbors or some shit, dude. It's like, damn, they pulled off. Like, damn, must how FedEx and UPS do. I guess they got different trucks and shit like that. But hey, man, long as they bring it, they said I got until 8, till they bring it tonight. So I got about until 7 or 8 tonight. So they
that's
gonna have me
perfect.
chomping. Yeah, they gonna have me chomping at the bits all fucking day, dude. I'm gonna be like, on pins and needles. Anytime I hear somebody outside, I'm like, hold on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, man. But yeah, so the heavyweight division right now, man, it's pretty lit, man. You know what I mean? And I think Joseph Parker has a better chance than a lot of guys are giving him, man. Like we were saying, he's not gonna have a bulky camp. This camp he's
hmm,
already talking about in an interview today that all the press from New Zealand, he welcomed them to his house, and pretty much that they that he welcomed them and they had food ready for him and everything like that. And he wasn't able to eat the food that they brought, you know what I mean, that
yeah,
he brought for the media and stuff like that. And so that's a telltale sign that he's trying to cut weight, you know what I mean. And I think that's an awesome deal right there, him trying to cut weight and go about it the right way, because for this Joshua fight, I think stamina and quickness will be a key factor. What are some of your key factors for the Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker fight, dude?
Uh, well, I find Anthony Joshua is very fundamentally sound. He's still developing. You could tell he's a fighter still developing. But I think the factors are for him. Anthony Joshua would pretty well keep doing what he's been doing in his fights. He's very good at being he's defensive responsible in the pocket. If you watch him in the pocket, he moves his head in the pocket. He's always catching shots in the pocket. That's a good thing to have in the heavyweight division because we both know that any punch can end the fight. He's good with his jab. We're gonna see how his stamina issues are. He has slimmed down, so that may help with that. I think he should move his head on the outside. If I have any critique with Joshua is he moves his head in the inside well. He's defensively responsible that way, but on the outside that he doesn't. And for Joseph Parker, he actually got some skills, man. I think he's pretty well almost as fundamentally sound as anybody out there in that division. People have had question marks over his power, but I seen him reference today a surgery, so he said that's going to change. As of right now, that's speculation, but um, that could be a factor in the fight. But we'll see. And I find he has a good jab. He's active. He's a pretty good finisher. He picks his shots when he has a man hurt. He doesn't go crazy. So I think it's a good fight. I think Parker's definitely a live dog, as you said. You can't say somebody in the heavyweight's not a live dog because these men are over 200 pounds. They can knock each other the fuck out at any time. So that right there makes you a live dog, especially when you have skills. Parker does have skills, but I am leaning towards Anthony, or I'm not leaning. I'm picking Anthony Joshua.
So you're picking Anthony Joshua. All right, man. That's what's up, man. So you're picking Anthony Joshua, to pretty much stay on board to, for a collision course with Deontay Wilder.
Yes,
That's
sir.
going that's actually gonna be going down. If all is well, the Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua fight. If everything works out and we're in Wonderland, everything will work out great, man. In this whole Wonderland scheme of things, man. And we'll get the fight this year, but we're not in Wonderland, so I doubt we get the fight this year, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, it's one of those deals, man, where we got to be realists, man. We want the Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua fight, but you know what I mean? You got these two B-level fighters, which I was trying to get into next. You got Dillian White, man, and you got Lucas Brown, dude. Them
Hmm.
dudes are chomping at the bit. They're fighting for the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And I honestly think that this fight is going to be a great fight, man. I want to see who's going to win this fight and if they can win it in dominating fashion. These are two heavyweights, one undefeated, one with one loss, that being Dillian White to Anthony Joshua. And I want to see who can fucking put up, man. I want to see who's going to, let their nuts hang, if you may. You know what I mean? In this fight, dude. Who's got the bigger balls, dude? Because I think Lucas Brown is a silent killer, man. You know what I mean? If you watch my pre-fight Lucas Brown versus Dillian White pre-fight, I showed a couple highlights in that video of Lucas Brown getting dropped. He's been dropped
Hmm.
in a the Chukev fight, and he got dropped, but he got back up and actually stopped the guy that dropped him, dude.
Yep.
And I mean, it was a fucking beautiful comeback. It was in that guy's backyard, and the crowd was just in awe, dude. That is, So I mean, then that was later in the fight too. So Lucas Brown's power can carry on throughout the fight too. So that's a telltale sign in this fight, man. And you got Dillian White, a power puncher, in my opinion, in the heavyweight division, with any class. You know what I mean? I think
Yep.
you put Dillian White in there with anybody, and it gives them problems. Dillian White is not no pushover, man. He's a great fighter. I'm not going to say great fighter, but he's a good fighter. He's a strong B-level heavyweight. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And the book is still out on Lucas Brown, man. He hasn't had that it fight yet. You know what I mean? That defining fight, that defining legacy fight.
Hmm.
This will catapult him into world stardom. You know what I mean? This will catapult him away from the rest. And if he can knock Dillian White out, he's on the map. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it definitely puts them on the map. So I mean, it's definitely significant for the both men. This fight, it is a fight that has significance, and in a way, it's significant to the fans because they're already throwing Dillian White's name around with Wilder right now. So I mean, it's really even though we want to see the Wilder Joshua fight, the outcome of this fight show has some significance too because it might it might play a role on what we're actually going to see. The thing with Marcus Brown fighting Dillian White is Dillian White has been active, and I don't believe Marcus Brown has been active as of late. Am I correct on that? It's
Lucas
been a
Brown.
while since he fought.
You talking about Lucas Brown?
Or sorry, Lucas Brown. Sorry.
You said Marcus Brown. I think that's a light heavyweight, right?
Yeah, that's the guy that's fighting Kovalev. I meant to say, yeah, Lucas Brown. Big white ball guy with tattoos.
Uh, oh yeah, man. So yeah, man. Lucas Brown. So yeah, Lucas Brown is been pretty inactive, man. I remember on the
Yeah,
interview that he did. They did the off the gloves. I think it was like a face to face type face off type deal.
yeah.
And Dillian White and Lucas Brown, were talking. They were head to head, at a table, you know what I mean, with a guy that was interviewing both of them. And Lucas Brown was pretty much like, man, look, man, I want to get my money. I want to have all my bearings when I get out of this, and I want to fucking fight now. If I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting older. I'm 38 years old. In the
Hmm.
next 2 years, I need to get all of my fights in, man. I need to get, if I'm at the championship level, pretty much this will show me. You know what I mean? If I'm at the championship level, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And pretty much what he was saying was, you know, this is a make or break fight for Lucas Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a fight where, if he's a domestic level fighter, that's what he is. But if he's a world class fighter, it'll show. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I think this is a defining fight for both of them. And then if Dylan White loses to, if Dylan White loses to Lucas Brown, I mean he's fucked, dude. I mean he's fucked. I mean he's pretty much, back to the bottom of the pitch, dude. I mean, the loser of this fight will not get a heavyweight title fight in the near future anytime soon. The loser of this fight, the loser.
Yeah. And to me, Brown's the one that has the obstacles going into the fight because of his inactivity. You always got to take in the importance of layoff. Your timing's off and things like that. Layoffs are crucial. They do mean something. There's a reason why when boxers come off layoffs, they take a tune-up fight or a stylistic fight that's good for them because your timing's off. Even your ability to take a punches off. So layoffs are crucial. So the fact that he's pretty well been inactive and 38 years old, and as you said, he still needs he still needs that signature fight, which goes to show he hasn't really fought at a certain level. That raises a lot of question marks. It raises a lot of obstacles. So um, I would have to favor White in this fight. But I mean, I'm not saying it's not impossible because they are they are heavyweights. So I guess we'll see what happens. But Brown has the obstacles going in. He has a lot of obstacles to overcome going in.
So yeah, man. Like I said, man, Dillian White is one of those fighters that is gonna talk shit and is gonna keep coming forward. He tried to pretty much knock Joshua's head off, and he
Mhm.
almost did. You know what I mean? He almost succeeded in the shit he was trying to do, man. I mean, he fucking tried to knock Joshua's. I think he tried to turn his lights off. Pretty much what I'm saying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He tried to and he almost did. I mean, he got real dim for Joshua. Joshua felt, Dillian White's power, so that means the power is real. But the book is still out on Anthony Joshua as well. Back to my point, man. You know what I mean? He's been rocked numerous times. And the
Yeah.
guy Dubas, up and coming heavyweight out of the UK, is pretty much, his signature moment is dropping Anthony Joshua in sparring. He gets asked about that sparring session every fucking interview, dude. It was sparring. It is what it is. Adrian Broner got knocked out in sparring by Earl Spence. It is what it is. Sparring is sparring. You know what I mean? And Adrian Broner hasn't been knocked out in boxing yet. You know what I mean? But he's been knocked down, but he's never been knocked out. They said Earl Spence knocked him out. They said the guy Dubin Dubas or whatever from the UK,
Yeah.
young prospect, said that he knocked he knocked out Anthony Joshua cold. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah, I heard that. I don't pay too much credence to that because I mean I'm not saying that there can't be some truth to it, but it's like you said, sparring is sparring, and as Floyd would put it, under the lights is under the lights. I don't put too much, I don't pay too much mind to it for the simple reason that people need to understand if you are sparring correctly, you especially at a world class level, you're doing things such as you might you might spar 4 or 5 rounds and you're constantly bringing in fresh bodies. So you're in a state that you necessarily wouldn't be in a fight. So you may be compromised where your sparring partner's not, which is going to leave you more vulnerable to get shots or to get knocked down because you got to try to simulate. Sparring is to simulate a fight, and you will be exhausted and to the point of exhaustion in the fight. So you have to simulate that in sparring. So I mean, a guy coming in fresh fighting a guy that's already put 6 hard rounds in and he drops him, it doesn't really mean anything to me because like you said, it's sparring. So to me, it's the same thing with Anthony Joshua. We've seen him rock. We haven't seen him knocked out. When we seen him drop, it was by Klitschko. Klitschko is a puncher, so I don't pay too much mind to the Anthony Joshua shit floating around with his chin, right? Because to me, it's too much speculation and it's just not important. But that's just my thoughts on that. That's just my thought process on it.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. You know what I mean? And pretty much what I'm trying to tell you is like, I honestly think that, you know what I mean, and the whole scheme of things is pretty much like I think that I think Anthony Joshua is scared of is the scared of Deontay Wilder, man. I think that you know what I mean. He's you know what I mean. I personally do, and I honestly I'm one of those guys that think no boxer, no fighter is scared to get in the ring with another fighter. That's what I thought. You know what I mean. But you do get that feeling, dude, when you go into that ring, dude. I'm not gonna say doubt crosses your mind, but you're like, what the fuck is this guy willing to do to me? You know what I
Yes,
mean? And
sir.
and I mean, when looking at Anthony Joshua and his facial and his the way he's going about everything, I think he's a little scared, dude. I think he's a little scared, dude. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, he's a big ass heavyweight. But I mean, what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, man. And
Hmm.
my personal opinion is I think Wilder, if Anthony Joshua takes the fight now, as opposed to waiting 1 or 2 more years, I think Deontay Wilder has the edge. What do you think, dude? What do you think?
I think it gives it gives Wilder an edge because I mean it's no big secret that people weren't happy with his resume and his level of opposition prior to Ortiz. So I mean, I'm not taking Ortiz away from him. So if it was to happen in 1 or 2 years, then Deontay's probably going to fight more stiff competition, so it helps him have more fights at a world class level. I also find that it can help Anthony too because I'm under the impression from what I see in the ring that Joshua is still developing, so it can further develop him more too. But I will say, and I have looked at it from both sides of the stick as far as this freeze out and as far as this why they're not going in the ring. I have looked at it on both sides of the stick, but I'm not going to support. I'm not a fan that's impatient. I find sometimes fans are impatient. They got to understand. They got to maximize their money. They got to preserve their bodies. There's negotiations behind the scenes, but I'm not definitely not supporting Joshua waiting 1 to 2 years to fight Wilder because to me, when you are a champion, you have to conduct yourself as a champion, and you have to do be willing to do the task at hand that the job requires, and that's to me is fighting the best. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping it's not a year maybe, but not this 2 years and 3 or 4 fights. No, I'm not going to support that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm pretty much trying to say, dude. I mean, it's pretty much like one of those deals. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what's going on, man. With the whole, you know, is he scared? Is he using this because Eddie Hearn said this is not going to be your next fight, Joshua? So whatever they say in the media, don't, pretty much don't worry about it. You know what I mean? We'll fight him on our terms and we'll fight him when we're ready. I'm pretty sure that's what Eddie Hearn's telling that motherfucking cocksucker. I mean, you know what I mean? You can't trust Eddie Hearn because, at the end of the day, he'll tell the media one thing and do a complete another, man. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
he's
I mean,
inconsistent.
he's very, very, very inconsistent, dude. And that's the only thing I don't really like about Eddie Hearn is that he'll tell us one thing and actually do another, man. And I actually try to take what somebody says as full face value. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I don't like all of the bullshit that comes along with boxing and the boxing politics and you know what I mean. And the promoters going back and forth and the networks. You got to have the right network backing and you got to be make sure that the networks agree on that, and you know what I mean. It's just so much variables in a fight, dude. Let's
Yes,
just
sir.
fucking fight, dude.
And the
Rocky
fighters get
style.
the fighters get the blame for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got guys like you got a lot of guys out here that want to fight. You know what I mean? Like you got a guy like Mikey Garcia that probably would fight a Terrence Crawford, but would Top Rank let that happen?
Exactly. They have to invest. They have to protect their investment too, right? Like people got to understand that they're an investment. It'd be like if you invested money into something and you try to invest it somewheres and they said, well, it might work out, but it might not. You're probably going to be advised to go the safer route where it's more or less a guarantee you're going to keep it and then maybe invest elsewhere later once you maximize more. So it's hard to say. I try not to blame the fighter, man. That's why you usually hear me say, such as I say, okay, the last episode, I said Manny doesn't seem like he's trying to fight the top opposition. How I worded it was Manny's side because I don't know if it's Manny. I don't know if it's Manny's management and advisors. I don't know if it's both. So I try to say it's on the fighter side as opposed to the fighter because the fighter, I believe, does have they can influence things for sure, but they don't make all the decisions.
Yeah, and to touch on the Manny situation in the whole welterweight division, did you hear about the Shawn Porter being actually did you hear about Shawn Porter and all his run-ins with the WBC now and actually Danny Garcia, my one of my favorite fighters, man. You know what I mean? There's a lot of speculation about his cherry picking. Hey, look, man, I'm a Danny Garcia fan to the death. I mean, I love what he come from. I love his dad's story. Angel Garcia is probably one of the most craziest outspoken trainers that you're gonna get, dude. You know what I mean? But
Agreed.
that's why I respect him, man. Because the guy has stage 4 throat cancer. The
Mm-hmm.
guy's really not supposed to be here. You know what I mean? So he's talking his shit. His son pretty much backs it up every goddamn time. I mean, he fought Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman didn't do anything in that fight to wow me. It was a dull fight. I think it could have went either way. So, at this point, one judge had it Danny Garcia's way, and the other judge, and this actually is a telltale sign and a valid point of this whole Shawn Porter situation because one judge had it Danny Garcia, one judge had it Keith Thurman, and the third judge had it for Keith Thurman. That's how Keith Thurman won that fight, and that was
Mm-hmm.
a unification fight. And guess what? The WBA, which was Keith Thurman was holding that belt, the WBA judge had it for Keith Thurman, and that was a telltale judge. That was a judge that actually, you know what I mean, decided history. History was made in that fight because the belts changed hands.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the key belts in one of the hottest fucking divisions in the world. You know, it came down to one fucking judge. Can you believe that shit? Your thoughts?
Well, I had Thurman winning the fight myself, but as far as Danny Garcia, I like Danny
Go
Garcia.
to hell, dude. Nah, I'm just joking.
I had I'm almost there. I'm in the basement, but I had
I'm just fucking around.
I had Thurman winning. but I can see the question marks that people have over Danny Garcia. But I'm a fan of boxing before a boxer, and I am a fan of Danny Garcia because I do like the skills. I like how see people go on about his counter punching ability. He does have it, but what people don't understand a lot of time is Danny Garcia punches with you, and that takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that. Like he'll literally hold his ground, not step back, and he'll throw with you. But to touch on your Shawn Porter, the last thing I heard about Shawn Porter is he got dropped. He got dropped down a notch, and then Danny Garcia got elevated. I didn't like that. I didn't like that when I read it because they're both in the position where they can fight Keith Thurman, and they both had to do an eliminator. But if you really want to look at the facts, they gave Garcia the path of least resistance to do so, because when Porter lost to Thurman, the stipulation was you need to fight in an eliminator to uh, have a rematch with Thurman. So they put Shawn Porter in with Berto, who was coming off a win, you see. And when Danny Garcia lost to Thurman, they put him in with Rios, which no disrespect to Rios. Rios is not Berto. So they gave him the path of least resistance, and Shawn Porter fought 2 fights. So he did earn his shot back at Keith Thurman to warrant a rematch. And now they just popped Danny Garcia up in front. You know what I mean? So if the Porters are hot, I can see why.
Oh yeah, dude. And that's what I was saying though, man. Like, at right now, I think Shawn Porter's gonna be ducked for a little while. I think he's still a threat. I don't know if he's per se being ducked by Thurman because I think Thurman clearly won the Shawn Porter fight. You know what I mean? I think he clearly won
Yeah.
that fight. But Keith Thurman had close fights with Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. You know what I mean? I think it was more clear with the Shawn Porter fight. That's my personal opinion. I might be.
You're gonna have to join me in hell because I think the Porter fight was closer than the Garcia fight. I think Keith let off the gas and stuff and
Oh, okay.
decided to box and move, but I had fucking Thurman. I had Thurman winning that fight, but I do like how Danny Garcia how he how he uh, how he approached it after the fight. He just said, "I clearly thought that I won the fight. I thought I did enough to win the fight, which he has the right to. He was in the fight, but he said it is what it is. So what he's pretty well saying is, I didn't get the go ahead. I didn't get the nod. It is what it is. I found he approached it better than his father did. His father just said it was a robbery. I'm like, no, dude, it's not a robbery. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just crazy the way it went down, man. You know what I mean? I think the way it went down is pretty much it could have went either way, but like I said, man, the judges play a pivotal part in this whole scheme of things, man. The judges are not getting paid shit. Let's be honest. Their salaries aren't. Their salaries are. Nothing to hoop and holler about. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they might be getting 40,000 a year. You know what I mean? Maybe. And
Yep.
they're actually making $1 million decisions, dude. They're
Yep.
making $1 million decisions on a base pay.
Yep. And as
You
far
know
as
what
I
I
know,
mean?
there's no process that a judge goes through. I mean, it's judged on 4 criteria,
Look
but
at that. I don't mean to cut you off, man, but look at that fucking judge that scored for Canelo to win that fight. Look at that shit for the Mayweather fight.
yeah, that's
When
what I'm
that judge
saying.
had it, you know what I'm saying?
I
That's
think
some bullshit.
you know what I think's a good suggestion? These guys never have to be accountable for what they do. So I think that this is just my suggestion, and this would probably clear up a lot of debates with the fans. Now we know there's 4 criteria when these guys judge around. So I think that when a judge judges around, they should have to leave a little indication of why they scored the round the way they did, such as, okay, I'm scoring this for Thurman based on the defensive criteria and effective punching, and so forth and so forth. That way, when we go back and we debate or discuss the fight, we can go
Uh-huh.
back and look at the round, and I could say, yeah, Corey, like I could see the defense there, I could see the effective punching. So we could disagree, but we can't really say that the judge was out in left field with the shit. Because that's the problem I find. Like I understand you got to respect people's positions, but I think they should be a little bit more accountable and have to they should have to give a verification of why they scored around a certain way. And I think that would take a lot of the debate away, as well as it would educate the public on how rounds are scored. Because a lot of people that are calling robbery or saying a guy won, they don't know how a round scored. I don't see anything wrong with the judge happen to do that, happen to leave a little note or whatever have you, be on a round that they scored. Because I mean, I've seen plenty of times where referees been interviewed right in the ring on national television why they made a certain call. But that's just my suggestion. I think it would stop a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, dude, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, dude. Hold on real quick.
Yeah, Corey Lee waiting for that MacBook.
Yeah, man. But yeah, dude, like I was saying, man, shit's going down, man. And I mean, I honestly think, my personal opinion about the whole situation and the whole Keith Thurman and whole Keith Thurman, the whole Sean Porter deal is, I think Sean Porter right now could be honestly, he could be at the top too, but I think he gets countered too easy, man. I mean, he gets countered very, very easy, man. When he's fighting like guys like, I mean, I would love to see a Sean Porter Earl Spence, dude. I mean, what's up? Wow.
Yeah,
What's up with
that
that
be
fight, dude?
that
Since
be a
he's
good
getting
fight.
thrown back in the division, since he can't get the fucking number one spot, what's good with the Earl Spence and Sean Porter fight? What's your thoughts on that fight, dude? That's a hell of
Well,
a fight.
I would think it'd be a good fight. I think Sean Porter gives anybody problems because of his style, which is he just don't leave you the fuck alone. I think it plays into Errol Spence's favor because Shawn is definitely going to be going to him. And I just think that Errol Spence, he has very good distance control. That's why you never see his punches smothered. He places his punches well. And even though Sean Porter he's consistently coming forward, he smothers his punches a lot. So I would lean with Errol Spence in that fight, but it would be a fun matchup because they are gonna come to fight, right? There's not gonna be too many. I can't see Spence or Sean Porter giving up too much ground because that's just not their style, anyways. So it's a good fight. I would go with Spence on that.
Yeah, man. That's definitely definitely a good assessment, man. He definitely smothers his punches, but he gets caught, dude. Keith
Yes, he
Thurman
does.
almost knocked Sean Porter the fuck out, dude. If you saw my if you would have watched my video where I'm not sure which video, man. I make so many damn videos, but I'm not sure which one I made, but I edited it where it was a Keith Thurman video, and it was about the welterweight division, about Keith Thurman, fight coming up. I actually put a clip of when Keith Thurman. It was some highlights of Keith Thurman and Sean Porter's fight. He got clipped in that fight, dude, and got hurt. Sean Porter got hurt in that fight. I don't give a fuck what
Yep.
you say to me, dude. He got
No, he
hurt
was
in
hurt.
that fight, dude. You know what I'm saying?
He
I
was
think
hurt.
he's got a strong chin, dude, to withhold Keith, because if Keith Thurman hits you flush, dude, dude, dude at 147, you're gonna feel that shit. If not, fall the fuck out, dude. Because I got him
Yep.
having a lot of power, dude. He's a power puncher. Keith
Yeah, he's
Thurman's a
getting slept
power
on a bit.
puncher, man.
He getting slept on a bit.
And
He getting slept on with his power. We can't forget about it because you did touch on Sean Porter. He was hurt because a lot of the times when people clinch, people that are spectating often think they're clinching because they're hurt, but a lot of times you clinch just to slow down the momentum, similar to you would if a team in basketball goes on a ten scoring run, you flagrant foul them. But when he held Keith Thurman, he held him because he was hurt. Like that motherfucker, if he would have got hit with a, if Thurman would have been able to follow up with a hook or anything, he would have knocked him out. So you're right, he does get clipped a lot, but I think he gives Spence problems too, even though a lot of people's not going to be under the same opinion because the thing is when you train defense, you train conventionally, and Shawn Porter doesn't throw
Hold
punches
on, keep
conventionally.
talk,
So
keep talking. I gotta
yeah,
answer this. Hold on, keep talking.
that's why these awkward motherfuckers give a lot of even world class level guys problems because they're awkward. You're not they're not thrown conventionally, and you're training conventionally. Such as if somebody throws a right hand, you automatically think the left hook's coming, so you're ready to catch that left hook. But the awkward motherfuckers might throw something else. So with Errol Spence lack of head movement, I'm not saying he can't utilize head movement, but he doesn't always implement it enough. Shawn Porter can catch him with shots too that he doesn't smother because he's unconventional. So that can work in his favor too because Errol Spence is a very good fighter, but he when you're conventional with him, he will place his shots. But if you're awkward with him, then it may be a little bit harder for you. It might be a little bit harder for him to get those shots off. It could cause problems. I would still pick Spence to win the fight, but Spence is hittable too. So I believe that Shawn Porter could hit him with his awkwardness. I think that awkwardness can make him land shots. I think the more conventional Shawn Porter becomes, the more Errol Spence has success in landing his shots. But I
True
definitely
that, man.
I would pick Spence as of right now.
Oh, Spence over Shawn Porter.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. When if Spence fights Sean, if, cause Spence has to fight Ocampo right now, man, and
yeah,
I think Ocampo's pretty much dog food for this guy, man. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know too much about Ocampo. Do you?
Yeah, I went through his box rec pretty well with the fine tooth comb. I don't believe he's fought out of Mexico. I seen one guy that he fought that seemed to be a decent name that he beat. But yeah, I don't think he has anything for Spence. No disrespect to the man because I don't disrespect anybody that goes in the ring. But he just doesn't seem that he's like on that world class level. He's not a puncher. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a mandatory defense for Spence. Let him take it, but I expect Spence to get him out of the way, and I'm not. I hardly ever call knockouts, but I can't see it going to 12 rounds. So definitely Spence.
Yeah, I got Spence pretty much knocking this guy out in 6 rounds. Ocampo has pretty much he has a 1% chance of winning this fight. It's a 99 to 1% differential. And I'm being honest with you. I'm not being a dickhead and I'm not bullshitting. I'm being honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ocampo has fought in all his fights in Mexico. Yes, he's probably gonna be a little tough, but that's only gonna be for a couple of rounds into Earl Spence wears his ass down with those body punches because
Hmm.
let's be honest, Earl Spence has some of the best body punches in the business.
Yes, and he's consistent. Always remember when the guy's consistent because you can be good at an attribute in boxing, but it's whether you're consistent with it, right? And he's
Oh
very
yeah.
consistent.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And what it is when Earl Spence touches you to the body, it's almost like you feel it instantly. And I mean, I've seen guys, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I've seen guys, get hit with Earl Spence's punches, dude, and get pretty much finished, dude. And I'm just like, wow, dude, like you're done. Like the Chris Algieri, he hurt Chris Algieri to the body. And I
Hmm.
mean, Chris Algieri has fought in the likes of Parodnikov, Manny Pacquiao, and he's never been destroyed like that before, man. He got destroyed by
Yeah, he
Earl
did.
Spence, man.
Yeah, yeah, he did. There comes a lot of the times you can see the momentum of the fight switch because each boxer's got to always usually make a decision. Do I still want to keep doing this? And when I mean I'm talking in terms of keep doing this, do I want to fight to win, or do I just want to fight to be here because I have no choice? And with Errol Spence distance control, and that's the thing. Errol Spence is not a one knockout with one punch, but he is an accumulation puncher, and he does break you down. And he has the power where he can hit you with a shot that you don't like. and force you to make that decision early. So I mean, yeah, man, like Algieri got destroyed, and Errol Spence is capable. The thing is with Errol Spence is why a lot of the reason why he's so successful of getting TKOs and stoppages is because of his consistent body and head attack. But he places his punches well. It's how he places his punches. He's very accurate with his punches, and when you find a target on your opponent's body, you don't have to have a extreme amount of power. But if you place the motherfuckers right, it will get people out of there. The human body's gonna break down.
Yeah, and in my personal opinion, with the whole human body analogy, I think like you were saying, when Earl Spence hits somebody, he pretty much if they feel it and they feel it pretty much instantly, man. It's not one of those punches where you get hit, the next round. You probably are gonna feel it the next round on and the round after that if you last that long. I think
Yes,
Earl
sir.
Spence right now is gonna be number two in the welterweight division. He is not my number one welterweight. Keith Thurman, Keith, one time a year, Thurman is my number one welterweight right now. He's the number one welterweight in the world, in my opinion, in Corey Lee's boxing. Corey Lee boxing is backing Keith Thurman, to beat all welterweights. What's your opinion on the welterweight division as a
I agree with
whole?
you.
As a
He's the
whole.
num. I think the welterweight division is, if not the hottest, definitely very near up the top. I find 160 starting to light up, but to stay on the welterweight topic, yeah, it's a very hot division. There's still questions to be answered. There's still guys that need to fight. I mean, there's all kinds of good matchups. We still got Manny Pacquiao lingering around. I mean, he's still capable. I do agree with you that Thurman's the number one welterweight because I mean it's just body of work wise he's a unified champion. Because I mean it's not a court of opinion. It doesn't matter if you think Spence can beat him or if Thurman can beat Spence. As of right now, he's the man to beat. Hence why everybody, including Spence, which he should, is calling him out. So I mean, when you have a unified champion in a division, especially one that's been undefeated, you have to rank him number one. You have to just based off body of work. Now, if you don't want to rank him number one based on how you look at his skills or how you size him up to Spence and these other guys, that's fine. But body of work wise and him holding two belts, you have to rank him. You have to rank him number one if you're looking at it from objective light.
Yeah, I mean, Black Horseman Promotion is pretty much saying he says facts. Thurman is number one at welterweight till I see otherwise. Shout out to Black Horseman, fan of the channel. I appreciate you comment, man, and we're gonna keep it going, man. But yeah, man, I think Thurman right now, he's been hurt though.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna be honest with this channel. And we said Shawn Porter's been hurt. We got to go down, Keith Thurman alley. We got to see, what fights he's been in. Has he been hurt? And I'm checking off all of those answers right now because he has been hurt. He has been in some tough fights. And his body, and that's one thing that's so intriguing about Earl Spence and Keith Thurman, man. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because Keith Thurman loves to slug with you, but he's open for body shots. What's
Yeah.
Earl Spence's favorite shot?
Yes, sir. I think as far as that matchup goes, I don't think it's as cut and dry as everybody think. Neither man's killing the other one, I don't think, because that awkwardness, like I was explaining earlier, Keith does have. He has that skills, but he have that awkwardness to add to the skills, and that can give Spence problems, especially with Spence's lack of head movement, where he doesn't implement it as much. He does. He does. I seen him in the Peterson fight. He does use head movement, but a lot of times he don't. But the problem is with Keith Thurman too is Keith Thurman is a skilled fighter. He fights off the back foot, he punches off the back foot, but he does make mistakes when you push him back. If you go watch the Shawn Porter fight, you will see that he does make mistakes, and you can't afford to make those mistakes with Errol Spence. And I think Spence gets to his body backing him up, and Keith making mistakes more than he does than actually boxing with him, because we do know Keith will move. He will use lateral movement. He doesn't do everything fundamentally correct all the time, but the idea is still there. He still knows to get out of the way. So I mean that's a good fight. I think there's a case to be made why both men can win that fight stylistically and technically.
Yeah, man. To go on your point now, man. Since we're on the welterweight, the welterweight topic, Black Horseman. Let me know if you want to chime in. Black Horseman pretty much says, he pretty much says that Thurman got speed, pop, and stays in shape. Spence, I believe, will not be as aggressive against Thurman, especially when he feels the power. Wow, man. Good assessment, dude. Good insight, Black Horseman. Word up, dude. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, guys like Thurman and Spence, being offered. But yeah, you got Black Horseman just put it in the chat. He just put a comment on the chat. You might want to check that out. But yeah, man, Black Horseman, to get on your point, man. Thurman is, does got speed and pop, and he stays in shape. Um, but right now he's out of shape. Let's be honest. Right now, from that arm injury, that arm surgery that he has, Keith Thurman had almost some man boobs popping off, dude. He got very out of shape, dude. He got up towards the 180s right now. And I mean,
Yep.
that's not to say that he doesn't stay in shape, you know what I mean, if he is healthy. But right now he's not that healthy. I did see a recent interview. I think he is trying to get some of that Black Horseman said, "Laugh out loud." But I do think he's trying to get some of that weight off him, man. But like I said, man, a guy suffers a elbow injury like that, on your power hand, man, that'll put you down, man. You know what I mean? That'll put you down, man. And I'm pretty sure he's working on the left right now, and he's making that stronger and all of that. But you can only do so much, man, when you're your elbow injury, man. And who's to
Yes, sir.
say that he's gonna be ready for May? The May fight. You know what I mean? I think it's May 19th if I got it right, man. I think he fights May 19th. But who's to say that he'll be ready for that? You know what I mean? I mean, my personal opinion is I think that Earl Spence right now is probably gonna be having this is gonna be pretty much a get back fight. Most of this, I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fight um Wood was not for the titles and was at about a catch weight about a 150 or 152. Because I mean, let's be honest, man. We've seen, Keith Thurman cut weight. He sucks his body down, dude, to cut that weight, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm being honest with you, dude. I've seen his eyes sucked in on some of his, that's a telltale sign, man, that a guy's dropping a lot of weight, man, when his eyes are sucked in. Pretty much like I was saying yesterday on the David Lemieux. You know what I mean? Some of these guys, they put their body through a hell of a lot, and all you got to do is just be healthy, dude, and stay in shape. That's all you got to do, man. And I think a weight cutting is easier for the likes of a Earl Spence and probably for the likes of a Shawn Porter. I think they stay in shape year round. You got Keith Thurman's just got married. So, what would that do for him? Him being married, him spending more time with his wife, them probably having kids in the near future. I mean, who's to say that he won't, you know what I mean? He isn't, right now I think Keith Thurman, if he hasn't started cutting weight already, but I think he peaked at about 180, dude. I think Keith Thurman got up to at least the 170s.
Yeah, he's a big welterweight. You could tell in between his fights that he is because he's quite thick in between his fights, and he's just a big welterweight, anyways. I mean, I could see him being at 154 before his career's over for sure. But yeah, it's you could tell these guys with some of the weight cuts are more difficult than others. But I think that's for two reasons. I think it's what you said. Some of them just have trouble cutting weight, but a lot of these guys that don't have as many problems cutting weight because they're in the gym more in the off season. So I don't know how much Thurman's in the gym, but a lot of the times when fighters have problems cutting weight, it's on them too because a lot of these guys are not in the gym, is a gym rat, so to speak, to the point where they're in shape all year round. And then when it becomes fight time and camp time, now you got two obstacles to get ready for the fight and to cut weight. So it's hard to say. We're not in their camps. We can only speculate. But I do believe there's a few guys out there that have problem making weight because they're not in the gym all year round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Black Horseman says, y'all gotta send me a link one day, fam. I'll chop it up with y'all one of these days.
Yep.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. We can definitely get you on the show maybe tonight or something, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I was saying, man, Keith Thurman and the whole weight loss. I think this fight right here is just for him to get back in shape. You know what I mean? This is my
Yeah, yeah.
personal opinion. I don't think that this fight that he's got coming up is gonna be a tough fight.
No.
That's why when he said Jesse Vargas' name, he probably had to retract that and be like, you know what? Vargas is a tough motherfucker because he beat Saddam Ali convincingly. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And
sir.
last I checked, Saddam Ali is a 154-pound champion now. So you
Yep.
know what I mean? You might want to watch what you say, Keith Thurman. You know what I mean? Before you eat your words. Like your boy Felix Verdejo. You know what I mean? Felix Verdejo took a mean loss last week. I can't get over that loss, dude. I mean, being that highly touted, dude, losing to a guy that was like in Mexico, 2 months prior, fighting a guy that was 4-15. You know what I mean? You were prospect, you were ESPN prospect of the year in 2015, dude. You took a massive decline, dude. A
Yep.
massive decline.
Yep.
And that's because of that fucking motorcycle accident he got. He had no business being on that motorcycle. My personal opinion, if you're a boxer, if that's your livelihood, get the fuck off the motorcycle, man. The fuck are you doing on a motorcycle? Get your dumb ass off the motorcycle. And that's what happened, man. His dumb ass got on the motorcycle. He fell off the motorcycle and he fucking injured himself very badly, man. He walked away because I'm in my eyes, I don't even know if he was wearing a helmet, man, but he barely walked away from that. And luckily he walked away from that and he's still able. But man, I seen a lot in that fight, man. But back to Keith Thurman, man. Keith Thurman is definitely a strong opponent. But like I said, man, this fight coming up is gonna be a weight loss camp. It's gonna be a fat camp pretty much.
Yeah. And
To cut weight only.
it's gonna be a fight to assess, right? Because I mean, I know people's not it's not popular opinion that I know people want to see the Spence fight, but he had floating spurs in his elbow. So long story short, when you have an injury like that, especially coming off a layoff, you got to have a fight just to assess to see how that elbow holds up because you don't know how that elbow's going to hold up. And not only that, you got an injury after a layoff. So automatically alone with a layoff, you got to take up a tune-up fight to make sure you're still sharp, make sure your confidence is still there, your ability to get hit is still on point. You got to make sure every factor of your game's on point, which is the whole reason why these guys take tune-ups after layoff. So with the combination of a layoff and an injury, you gotta assess yourself. And a lot of times you gotta assess yourself 2 fights. I understand him maybe fighting Garcia and Porter first, or not really talking like if he could fight Spence tomorrow, he would. That's a totally different subject. But is to strictly stay on this fight, he gotta fucking assess that elbow because he don't know how that elbow's gonna hold up in the fight or after the fight. And plus he still gotta do his tune up process because the motherfucker's been out of the ring for a year and a half and out of the gym for a year and a half because of an injury. You can't be going and fucking around with the wrong motherfucker, especially with that fucking with the layoff and an elbow injury. It's pretty well a fight for him to do his tune up process and to see how that elbow goes up. That's all that is. That's all it is.
And like Black Horseman said, he said, I agree. People need to let Thurman get back in the groove, then put pressure on him after the first, maybe the second fight. I agree 1,000% on that, man, Black Horseman, man. But because right now, I think a lot of fans are putting a lot of pressure on Keith Thurman. Like, what the fuck are you doing holding the belts hostage? The dude just got his elbow cut wide open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, for that to happen, you know what I mean? He has to have some type of rehab, some type of comeback fight, and then we can talk. You know what I mean? My personal opinion is I think that, he's actually a good, I think he's a good fighter. And I think he, does the right thing. But at the same time, man, why are you going to judge a guy that just coming off elbow surgery and pretty much has ballooned to about 180, dude? He was definitely looking like he gained a lot of weight, man. Some of those interviews I seen,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Like I said, man, he's probably gonna be getting back, getting in the swing of things. Do not be surprised if if the comeback fight doesn't go 12 rounds. You know what I mean? If he's in there with a formidable opponent and a name, all we want is a name. If he's in there with a name opponent, I'm happy. With a guy that I know that I've heard before, you know what I mean? And I mean, when he's at an elite level like that, they're not gonna just put him in with a guy with 4-15. I mean, they're not gonna put him in with a guy like that. They're gonna put him in with a guy like, you know, Andre Berto, you know what I mean? A guy like that, a Paulie Malignaggi, a guy like that, you know what I mean? Get his bearings straight. Not a real high level fight, not a real high level risk, you know what I mean? Should I say? Because the money is on the back end with the Earl Spence and maybe the possible Danny Garcia fight. And I think the reason why they put Danny Garcia as the number one um um fighter for the WBC is because he sells. Danny Garcia sells. I can't vouch for Shawn Porter selling, but Danny Garcia sells at the Barclays. Him and Keith Thurman fought at the Barclays, and that is still the number one audience that's fought at the Barclays. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
with over 16,000 fighting fans watching both of those guys fight neck and tooth and nail. You know what I mean? And I honestly think that's what, you know, Al Heyman's smart because, like we said earlier, you got to get a return on your investment if you're a promoter or if you're an advisor. You know, an advisor makes money too. You know, we can scream all day that Al Heyman's not a manager, but at the end of the day, he's an advisor. You know, he's going to
Yes, sir.
advise you. You know what I mean? And I honestly think that, you know, a lot of people should be a little bit more lax on Keith Thurman and, you know, let him heal, let him, you know what I mean, come back in May. He's coming back in May. That's only like a month or two away. You know, we'll see. And, you know, May will be here before you know it, man. And, you know, I mean, they're talking about him fighting Spence now. Just imagine after he probably puts on a good performance in May, just imagine the fans, dude. They're going to be on his ass.
Yeah. See, this is where I'm a fan of Keith Thurman. I'll be rooting for Thurman in that fight. But here's where the Tyrone that calls it down the middle for everybody stands. I agree with you that fans can be impatient, they can be fickle, and I thought they were being a little too hard on him. But I do understand where they're coming from, even though I'm a Thurman fan, because a lot of people don't have a problem with the process that he's going through. It's just that they have a problem where he's kind of dismissive of fighting another champion as of right now by bringing up Porter's name and Garcia's name and letting it build up. So I can actually see where their frustration's coming from. I have to be down the middle with it. I have to be objective with it, whether I'm a fan or not. Because, like I said, a fan over boxing before any boxer. I can. A lot of people are not having problems with the tune-ups. A lot of people are, but they're not thinking correctly. It's him he's not being very clear on a timeline when he fights Spence. He's kind of being dismissive. He's not kind of giving you the feel, well, if I could do it right now, if circumstances were different, I would do it. So I understand their frustration too. I can't lie about that. I can't lie about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying right now. I mean, I honestly think that right now, I think that, you know, right now you got Shawn Porter. Like, where does Shawn Porter go from now? Like, where does Shawn Porter do? You know, who would you like to see Shawn Porter in there since they're fucking him over in the WBC? I mean, Earl Spence gave him an open, you know, fight to the WBC. I mean, to the IBF. And you know, pretty much what Kenny Porter was saying is we paid all this money for the WBC, and you know, Keith Thurman has to see me. That's what Kenny Porter said. And I just it's gonna be so funny, dude, to get an interview out of Keith. That's who I want to interview right now. I want to hear interview Kenny Porter after all this news coming out that they're actually gonna be ranked number 2 now instead of being number 1. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I want to see what Kenny Porter has to say about that. He already said out of his mouth he's already put 300,000 into the WBC pot on the sanctioning fees and shit. You know what I mean? So where does that $300,000 go now? I mean, you're number 2, dude. You had to
Yes,
move
sir.
over for Danny Garcia, dude. And I mean,
Yeah.
Danny Garcia just beat Brandon Rios. It ain't like he beat a fucking, you know what I mean? It ain't like he beat Manny Pacquiao. He beat Brandon Rios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, Brandon Rios is a C-class fighter at best. It was a comeback fight for Danny Garcia, and that bumped him up. to uh to the number one position in the WBC, and that's where the politics come into play, man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where the politics come into play, man. You know what I mean? And I honestly think, man, at the end of the day, man, I think that, everything happens for a reason, man. And, when it's all said and done, dude, I think Shawn Porter will get his shot with Keith Thurman, but who's to say it won't be 2 years from now?
Yeah, because now that you're on that subject, at first I was advocating for Shawn because a lot of people were saying Shawn was ducking, but the position that Shawn was in, it basically came down to, well, do you want to fight for two belts or do you want to fight for one? And I mean, if you have a chance to become unified champion and be the man in the welterweight division, then you're not gonna approach Spence right at the moment. I mean, that's just common sense. That's just somebody calling things how they see them. Now that this changes, it changes things a little bit. So to me, like, why does it hurt fighting Errol Spence and getting yourself a strap, especially now that you're number two? Because I actually seen Shawn and Kenny's point, because with the sanction and fees, like you mentioned, that just wasn't Kenny Porter's point. It was the amount of work that they made Shawn Porter do to get the rematch with Thurman. Because if you watch how boxing works, usually what warrants a rematch is a competitive fight. But in order for Shawn Porter to get that fight with Thurman, he had to, and he had a competitive fight. He was told to go fight an eliminator to get a rematch. That's more work than some people do to get a world title shot. And he had to fight two times. So I understood why they were staying firm and saying not Errol Spence right now, because I'm in the position to become unified champion if I win this next fight. But now it changes things a little bit. I mean, you still got to stay active. You got to fight. Why not? Why not go after Spence now? So I can see why people right now would say, well, why not go after Spence? I seen why he didn't go after Spence the first time, but we'll see what happens, man. But I mean, I can't really blame people for thinking that these fighters are not too keen on fighting Spence, whether it be ducking for because it's the risk is not worth the reward. But I mean, I can't fault them really to an extent for thinking like that, because people are really dismissive of them.
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like, Shawn Porter, man, I feel kind of bad for the guy paying all those sanctioning fees and then getting dropped down to number two, and he did nothing wrong. I mean, it's
Nope.
just pretty much like it's just
Sean Porter
politics, man.
Sean Porter did more to get a rematch with Keith Thurman than some people do for a title shot. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, man, he beat Granados and he beat Berto, man, and he
Yeah.
gets for beating those two guys. He pretty much gets a smack in the face by the WBC. Yeah, dude, good job, but we're gonna demote you to number two. Thanks for the 300,000 as well.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And like I said, he was wanting to fight Danny Garcia before Danny Garcia was even mandated to fight an eliminator. So I mean, I can see people's point. Like, if you're going to call out Danny Garcia and you're already mandated at the position to fight Keith Thurman, which is why you're holding firm to it, then why not fight Spence? I can see the point on that too, especially now. Like, getting a strap never going to hurt you either.
Oh yeah, man. That's what I said. If Sean Porter could, and that's another thing, man. Sean Porter, is lacking a belt, man. That's why a lot of guys fought Sean Porter because he had a belt. You know what I mean? That's why Kell Brook fought him because he had that belt. Nobody's gonna willingly want to fight Sean Porter. He's a tough out for anybody. Let's be honest, man. He's no
Yep,
easy
he is.
road, dude. It's no easy. This is no cupcake walk with Sean Porter, dude. You're gonna get mugged. You're gonna be cut. You're gonna be in a
Yep.
fucking dogfight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
you
not
will be
gonna
working.
be. What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said, if you fight Sean, you will be working. Win or lose, you're gonna be going to work.
Oh yeah, man. You gotta put like I said, you gotta put your hard hat on when it comes to fighting Sean Porter, man. He's a tough out, man. And I think the welterweight, and that's another thing I wanted to get on, man. Terrence Crawford, man. How do you feel about the Terrence Crawford, Jeff? Postponement and The whole debacle with Bob Arum, man. I mean, he's waiting on the money to get there, dude. If this was an Al Heyman fight, I've never seen Al Heyman pull out of a date.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of a weird situation because they
It's
said it's a
not
soft.
weird. I just think it's not. There's no money. There's no money backing, dude.
Well, you got to
There's
think
no
too,
money.
Manny Pacquiao, he got off that card too, right? And then I just find it awfully strange that uh they announced Terrence Crawford's injury. He didn't announce it. Bob Arum announced it, and then 24 to 48 hours later, they're asking for now subscription for ESPN. I think it would. I think. I think that Terrence Crawford's really injured, but I think it's just. I think it worked conveniently for Bob Arum now because either way he's going to get paid for that fight because that fight was free at one point, and now if you want to see it, it's going to be on subscription.
Oh yeah, man. That's another thing, man. I honestly think, with everything going down right now, Terrence Crawford, man, if he can get out of that top rank contract, he needs to get the fuck out of Dodge, dude. I mean, the shit's getting out of hand. I mean, the guy's getting treated like a stepchild. He's getting Lomachenko's getting the red carpet. Come here, son. I'll show you the promised land. And Terrence Crawford's getting fuck you. Stay at home, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much that's how I feel what's going on. You know what I mean? I think he's getting the redheaded stepchild treatment. And my personal opinion is he could actually get treated way better and get paid way more money with the likes of Eddie. Man, what if Eddie Hearn promoted Terrence Crawford? That'd be awesome, dude.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm sorry. That'd be awesome, dude. Because I think Terrence Crawford only has about one or two fights left on the contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. I think personally it'd be better. I'm with you. I think it'd be better if he got out of that contract. I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but it seems we see the history of Bob Arum. You know what I mean? He likes to keep fights in house, especially title fights. He's not really known from working with other organizations because he likes to keep things in house. And then once your expiry date's pretty up, he pretty well feeds you to the wolves. I mean, we've seen the history with him in Floyd Mayweather. We now know that Floyd Mayweather leaving Bob Arum was the best decision, the business decision he ever made. And we've seen it with other fighters. I mean, Bob Arum is very good at his job. He does have a job to do, but if you look at the history and the fighters that left, they were better off when they left him. Because a lot of times you get put on the shelf because he wants an in-house fighting, right? And he's Terrence Crawford's at the cusp right now for Hall of Fame status. Like, I mean, he's going to the welterweight division as undisputed, which is something that Mayweather hasn't even done. And if he gets the hits, the sculpts that he wants at welterweight, I mean, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer to the point where his body of work, Floyd Mayweather couldn't even scoff at his body of work. You know what I mean? So if Bob Arum, and I say if, is going to stop these fights from happening, that's not good for his legacy at all. Like, you can't be putting Terrence Crawford on the shelf. You can't be. He's accomplished way too much as it is. So if I'm going back on Bob Arum's past history, I would have to say it's my humble opinion that Terrence Crawford get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. Terrence Crawford right now is getting about between 1 million and about 1.5 million a fight, man. I think at this point in his career, being the undisputed, junior welterweight champion of the world, having all the fucking belts, you're only getting about 1 million a fight still. Dude, your level of fucking stardom should have been skyrocket high, dude. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? He does lack personality. He does lack, that it factor, that, what I mean, that personality that awes you. And, look what he said. Look what he said. All he's pretty much saying behind the scenes, I'm going to beat your ass. I can't wait to fight you. I'm going to fuck you up. You know what I mean? But he's a soft-spoken guy. You know what I mean? He's not a flashy, I got the diamonds in my fucking wrists, bling blow. He's not one of those
No.
type of guys. He's one of those type of hard-working, family men. You know what I mean? From what I can see, he's got a
Yeah,
he's got a big family. What were you saying?
yeah. No, I was just gonna say I was agreeing with you. Yeah, he's just a man that just wants to go to work and do his job. but he will turn up if you push the wrong buttons because you've seen that with the Jeff Horn, right? So I mean, he can market a fight too, but yeah, he's a lot like Spence and guys similar to that. He wants to go to work, he wants to do the job, and that's it. And to me, I mean, the man's undisputed. Undisputed is not unified. It's not a contender. It's not a world champion. It's fucking undisputed. So I mean, they should be pushing him more, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. You got guys like Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn beat, Manny Pacquiao. And it's so crazy that the fucking Manny Pacquiao wasn't in it wasn't in the cards, man. Like, how the fuck do you fucking sign up? You're the ace. You're the you being Manny Pacquiao is the eighth side of the fucking fight, dude. And you picked the rematch clause to be in Australia. That's gotta be Bob Arum's doing, dude. He fucked Manny Pacquiao sideways, front, back, doggy style. He just fucked the shit out of Manny Pacquiao, dude. Excuse my language, man. Getting a little harsh, but
Yep.
it's just, it's out of control the way they fucked this guy, man. You know what I mean? And I don't blame Manny Pacquiao for leaving, man. It's pretty much like the bad girlfriend, the bad relationship you had, and you had to pretty much tell her eventually, man, stop following me or I'll call the cops.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but on the other end of the stick, Manny, it's a case too where you're putting yourself in a position where somebody can do that to you because, like I said, Manny Pacquiao wasn't really seeking out. He wasn't really seeking out the best matchups. When he got the title, he wasn't seeking out a top guy at welterweight, and he elected to go fight Jeff Horn. So I mean, Bob Arum might have fucked him over, but I mean, you're making it easy for Bob Arum to do so. It's the same as is he didn't want to be on the undercard of Terrence Crawford, Jeff Horn, but if you look at the opponent man he picked, it doesn't warrant a pay per view. So I mean, what the fuck do you expect? Don't put yourself in those positions either, right? But like I said, we know the history of Bob Arum. We know it, right?
Oh yeah, man. We know the history of Bob Arum, and what it is, man, Bob Arum's a snake. He's actually one of those snakes, man. And so let's wrap up the video, man. My package just got here, man.
Perfect.
We're gonna start it back up, man. I can't wait to do another video with you. Let's shoot for tonight, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some company over tonight. I'm not sure how long, but I'll
Okay.
shoot you a message.
All right, man. Keep me in touch, man. And my final thoughts on the whole deal is great, great back and forth like we always have, man. And I think this is gonna be a weekly occurrence with me and Ty Legacy, man. He's not. I'm gonna stop fucking putting him as welcome to Ty Legacy. You're not a guest anymore, motherfucker. Go to the
Perfect.
kitchen. Go to the
Yeah,
kitchen.
and the Black Horseman, if you're there, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. We could chop it up too. I have no problem bringing people on and giving them a little limelight. So that's not a problem either. If Corey wants to keep having me, I'll be here too. Corey, you jump over on mine too if you want.
10-4, man. I'm gonna have to make a guest appearance on your show, man. But yeah, man. Me and Ty Legacy will get back later today or tomorrow. Like I said, I'm getting a new laptop today, so I gotta, get tweak the bugs out. I gotta do a little bit of hardware work on it. So when I get everything back up and running, man, you'll hear back from either me or Ty Legacy tonight, man. And peace, man. One love, man. And until the next time, man. Peace.
See you later.